Thank you. What's up, team? Nsima the Centaur Inyang here, and it's been a while since I've done a speaking video, I know. Now, the first thing I want to tell all of you is thank you for those of you who've been riding with this channel since its infancy, for those of you who joined when I started making the Smooth Panther mobility and stretching videos, which don't worry, those videos are going to continue. I've just been trying to think of new things to do. Yeah, if you've been at this channel for a long time, you know that the channel started off with natural bodybuilding content. And by the way, I'm still natural, even though my channel name and my Instagram name has changed to Nsima Inyang, which is my name, into powerlifting and the power building content, so powerlifting and natural bodybuilding, into jiu-jitsu, bodybuilding, and powerlifting, and then obviously the Smooth Panther stuff. A lot of you guys have been riding with me for that whole time, and the channel has reached a little bit above 20K. So thank you, okay? I want to start off with that. Now, let's get into the subject of this video, and I'm going to make more videos like this because this is going to be the way that I personally mesh everything that I enjoy together. My progression at jiu-jitsu, my progression with lifting, my progression with my physique. This is going to be the way that I bring it all together, and it's going to be through talking to the camera, talking to you. This is what I enjoy doing. I enjoy bringing you information. So this is how I'm going to do it. Now, this specific video is going to be about, if you can see this right here, right? You see that? Oh, focus on that. That is a stent. And I currently have a small injury, a pinky injury. All right. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this today is what happens a lot to all of us, including myself. In the past, you guys have seen that when I had my meniscus surgery a few years ago, and when I was really young, I had a platelet-rich plasma injected into my right knee at 16, and I got Osgood-Schlatter when I was 13. All of these injuries helped to build me into the person I am now. When I really think back to them, they were beneficial. And it was because of the way I changed the way I look at them, at least now. Back then, I didn't really look at injuries this way, but now I do. And let me tell you a story just to kind of wrap all of this in together, make it nice into a nice little box. When I was 13 years old, that's when I started lifting. And I started lifting because of an accident. I was playing soccer from 6 to 13, and soccer was my sport, but I got something called Osgood-Schlatter, which happens a lot to individuals who first off are growing very quickly, and that also play sports that cause you to move harsh in one direction to another. Now, Osgood-Schlatter happened to me in both knees, and it actually stopped me from being able to run. So if I couldn't run, I couldn't play soccer. I was in massive pain all the time, and I became very, very depressed. As a kid, you don't think about what you can do around injury. You mainly think about the injury, and it messes you up. So what happened is my mom got me a gym membership. This is when I discovered bodybuilding and lifting, and from that point, that's how I got into it. I was able to pour all of my energy into what I was able to do, which was going into the gym, lifting weights, getting jacked and swole. Then when I got back to the soccer field at 16 years old, I had another knee issue that made me get platelet-rich plasma injected into my right knee. But, you know, if I didn't have that injury, I wouldn't have started lifting. At 16, I wouldn't have been like 220 pounds, and I wouldn't have been able to dominate the soccer field. But the essence of what I'm getting at is because of that injury, I was able to find something that I could work around. No, I wasn't able to do what I truly loved, which was playing soccer. But I was able to find something else that I did fall in love with, which was lifting. Now, recently, 2 years ago, I had a meniscus injury. Actually, I had to get surgery on it because I think it's called a bucket handle tear in my left meniscus. Now, when I had that injury, immediately my mind shifted. I did have a few days where I was like, oh God, I will not be able to squat. I can't bench. I can't deadlift. And that was rough. That was really rough because y'all know how much I love lifting. But literally after a few days, I then started thinking, okay, if I was working with one of my athletes, what would I do? We have to figure out what we can do around the injury. And that's what I did. The doctor told me that the injury would take, 4 months to fully recover. That's what he mentioned. And I got fully recovered within about a month and a half. It took me about 6-7 weeks to get back to squatting and deadlifting and benching. And then that's because, well, benching anyway, but that's because I was able to work around the injury. I did everything I possibly could while that injury was being dealt with to progress at other things, to progress at my upper body work. Immediately once I could, I started doing things that didn't hurt. And because I did that, I was able to recover in much faster time than the doctor thought I could. Now I have this pinky injury. It's called mallet finger. Now my pinky bent forward while I was rolling with one of my rolling partners, and it was bent. And in jiu-jitsu, well, grip is important, okay? When you can't grip with your pinky, it makes a big difference. So a lot of what I've been doing in jiu-jitsu has had to evolve. I've had to do much different things when rolling with individuals that don't involve too much gripping because I can't actually bend this pinky. And it's evolved the way I play the game. It's evolved the way I roll because I'm working around it. I don't focus on what I can't do. I've focused on what I can do. So it's kind of interesting. On Mark Bell's Power Project, which I co-host now, so check it out, we had a conversation with Elliot Hulse the other day. And Elliot said something interesting when he said it initially. I was like, it's kind of odd. But he said,
I tore both my biceps, tore my Achilles tendon. I had a hernia. I fell on my head when I was on a trampoline. Through a one-liner in Iron John by Robert Bly where he says, every wound is a womb.
Within every wound, there is a womb. Initially, I didn't really know what to take from that statement. I just thought that's Elliot being philosophical Elliot. All right. Elliot tore both of his biceps. He's had some crazy injuries, but he talked about how he grew from all of those injuries. And when I thought about all of the injuries that I've had throughout my lifting and athletic career, the biggest one being the one that actually drove me into lifting, the thing that I now live off of, the thing that I love, the thing that helps me progress in the world. That injury with something that I thought I loved so much, soccer, pushed me towards something else that now is a massive part of my life and what I do. So, if you're dealing with an injury right now as a lifter, surface level answer, surface level solution, figure out literally anything that you can do around that injury. And then when you start feeling a little bit better, start doing small things that don't hurt. Example, let's talk about the shoulder because I recently have a problem with my AC joint here. I can't really bench too heavy right now. I can't really do heavy pushing movements, but I can work on tempo work. I can work on controlling these movements through space for tempo, which is actually helping it to recover over time, and it's working on weaknesses and shoulder instability. Yeah? If you have a hamstring injury, Edgar, I'm talking to you. You know who you are. There's a lot of things we can do with the upper body around this. We don't have to do heavy deadlifting. We can do a lot of light work. We can do blood flow restriction if necessary, which for a lot of you, if you don't know what blood flow restriction is, it's a very good technique to use when you have injuries to make sure that you don't lose as much muscle within the area as you typically would if you were working that muscle normally. So if you just don't do anything, it'll atrophy, but if you do blood flow restriction, that'll help you maintain a great amount of muscle. But in essence, let's work around it. Let's do everything we can to progress at other things and not focus on the injury, not let it bring us down. And in that, you'll probably grow. You'll probably learn something new. You'll probably get better at something that maybe has been a weakness, and that's been showing a lot up in my jiu-jitsu. And you'll have massive benefit from it. So, comment down below what type of injuries you've had, what you've had to deal with, and maybe how it helped you grow. Because, I know that in injuries in the past, they've brought me into depressive states, but as I've looked at injuries in this way instead, it's helped me out. It's helped out my mood. It's helped out my emotions, and it's helped my control over the situation. So comment down below. Let me know what type of stuff you guys have dealt with. Now, you guys know that I co-host Mark Bell's Power Project, and I also co-host a podcast called We Don't Know Yet that I do with my friend Brian J. Belaya. I'm going to have all the information for that podcast down below in the description box. Check it out. and more Smooth Panther videos coming. My goal is to be able to have more of these types of videos every single week. My main thing I've been trying to figure out for these past few months as I've been working on these other podcast projects is figuring out a way to meld what I do together. The jiu-jitsu, the bodybuilding, the strength in terms of the powerlifting. I want to be able to bring this together cohesively, but I'll still be able to make the videos enjoyable, informational, and something that you guys can gain something from. Because I'm not really much of the vlogger type, although I'm interested in doing some of those videos in the future. So again, don't forget what I mentioned. Comment down below the injuries you may have had and how they've helped you to grow. And if you have any other video ideas, let me know. This is Nsima the Centaur Inyang from Break the Bar. Be an anomaly, be different, be yourself, do different stuff. And I will talk to all of you very, very soon.